Would you like to design your very own animated island code inside of UEFN? Well, you're in the right place because I'll show you exactly step by step the process that I took in order to achieve this very clean animated UI. All of the assets that I used in this video, including the widget itself, will be available for free in my Discord server. You can join by following the very first link in the description. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is open up our project folder, and we're going to make a new folder called UI, and we're going to open that up. We're going to create a folder called textures. So once you've made your textures folder, go ahead and open it up, and we're going to import the textures. If you decide to use your own textures, that's totally okay. Like I said, I will be providing these for free, available in the Discord server for completely free, no catch or anything like that. So yeah, if you want to follow along with these, I encourage you to do so, but this method works with any texture you want to use. So then what you want to do is you want to make sure all of the textures are selected. You want to right click, go to Asset Actions, and then Edit Selection in Property Matrix. And what this allows us to do is edit all of the textures in one go instead of having to go ahead and one by one just edit them. We can change all of the textures at the same time. So the ones we want to change are, if you scroll down to the level of detail, we want to set the MIP gen settings to no mipmaps, and the texture group is going to be UI. Go ahead and close out of that and go back to the UI folder and begin making the user interface widget blueprint. For this, there are two different options. Go ahead and click user widget. This is a much more versatile widget type instead of using the model dialog variant. So go ahead and click the user widget option. And I'm going to name this WBP underscore custom island code. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag a canvas panel inside of the screen. I'm also going to scale this up to 1920 by 1080 just because this is my preferred workspace. After that, we're going to drag an image in, and we are going to move this to the center, or sorry, we're going to anchor it to the center, and we're going to reset the position. We're going to set the alignment to 0.5 because we want it to be centered. And we're going to size to content as well. We're then going to drag our very first texture in, and this is going to be the island title. And we're also going to set the Y position to something like 20, maybe like 25 or 30. It's really up to you. I'm going to go ahead with 20 just because I think that looks the best. I'm also going to rename this to island title. Below that, we are going to add in the island code as well, and we can just drag and drop this in. I'm going to set this back to its original size, and same thing, I'm going to anchor it in the center. I'm going to reset the position, and I'm going to set the alignment to 0.5. And don't forget to set the Y position to 20 as well, so they are directly on top of one another. I also noticed that in my personal experience, this is a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the scale. I'm going to divide this by 2 on both axes. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the title as well. Just like that. Finally, I'm going to rename this to island code. Boom. Going to compile that. I also realized I forgot to import a couple of the textures, so I'm going to do that now. These will also be available for free. Every single resource that I use in my videos are posted for free for my Discord members. Sorry to shout that out twice. I just thought I should mention that. Same thing. I'm going to go to Asset Actions, Edit in Property Matrix. And then I'm going to set this to no mipmaps and UI texture group. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is drag an overlay, and we're going to anchor it and align it very similarly to the title and the code. We're going to make sure that it's size to content, and we're going to set the Y position to 80. Just like that, so it's a little bit below the title. Inside of there, we're going to add a stack box, make sure that it's centered vertically and horizontally in the center. We're then going to drag an image inside of here, and this is going to become the like icon, or excuse me, it's actually going to become the heart icon, just like that. We're going to select the heart. We were also going to divide this by 2, so it'll be 28 by 28 pixels. We're going to set the horizontal and vertical alignment to center as well, and we're going to set the padding to something like let's do like 8 padding. From there, what you want to do is press Control D to duplicate it. We're then going to search for the favorite texture. We are going to divide this by 2. From there, we're going to rename this to favorite text. I'm actually going to go ahead and rename this to favorite icon just so that they stay consistent. We're going to duplicate the text and we are going to set this to the like icon just like this. Same thing, divide by 2, and then we're going to rename it to the like icon and duplicate it. And this is going to be the like text. Once again, we're going to divide it by 2. We are going to rename this to the like text just like that. All right, so now that you have all that set up, this is everything we need to get started on the animations. What we're going to do is we're going to click this little plus icon and we're going to name this to island code animation just like that. And when you click on it, your screen will have this blue outline around it just to let you know that you're inside of an animation. I'm then going to select this Emerald City title and I'm going to add it. I'm going to add island title. You can add a bunch of different tracks here. I'm going to add the visibility. I'm going to set this to hidden. Once you do that, you can go ahead and add the render opacity. I'm going to start this off at 0, and then I'm going to drag it out by, let's say like 0.25, and I'm going to set it to a full opacity. So now if you look, it will appear. And I'm actually going to go ahead, I'm going to set this to like 0.5, maybe a little bit slower. Just like that. And the next thing you want to do is select the overlay for the reminder, and we are going to add this in as well. Click the overlay, and we're going to set the entire overlay's render opacity to the same thing. So we set it to 0, and then we drag the little timer to 0.5 and we set it to 1. So now both of them fade in. But the thing is, we actually want this to fade in after the fact. So there's a little bit of motion happening here. I'm going to collapse the title. I'm going to hold control and I'm going to scroll up on the mouse wheel so I can zoom in on the timeline. So the next thing we want to do is add some motion to this reminder. So for right now, because I'm not really concerned with the visible opacity since we already set that up, make sure when you do this, it's set to 0.5 so it's fully visible. Go ahead and click the hide icon so that even when I drag it around, it'll stay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus icon and I'm going to transform. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to delete the shear. I'm going to delete the scale, and I think I can delete the rotation as well. So just based off of the translation, I'm going to delete the X as well because we're not going to be moving side to side at all. You might, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we will not need the X translation. I'm also going to go ahead and key the second frame first, just so that I don't need to remember what position it is in or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus icon here, and I'm going to go back to the beginning frame. And I'm going to drag it up so it starts around here. Let's say -60. We can go ahead and re-enable the opacity. And so now you can see how it's starting to appear. But the issue is that it's appearing too soon. So we need to add a delay to the opacity. So to do that, it's actually very easy. I'm going to take this 0% opacity frame and I'm going to drag the timeline to about here. So about when you actually see it, stop clipping in front of the title, I'm going to paste it. So now it looks something like this, where it appears, and if I hide everything, you can start to see that it only appears after it clears the title like that. I like to watch it a few different times as I'm going through it, just so I can make sure that I'm happy with everything, because it can kind of be hard, or it can kind of be difficult to go back and retroactively change things. It is a non-destructive workflow, but it's just easier if you get it right the first time and just tweak it a little bit as you're doing it so you don't have to go back later. So the next step is we need to animate this little heart icon and this like icon, and because it would be kind of hard for me to get the timing right and everything right here, I'm going to go to the last frame and I'm going to disable the animation or hide the animation so that as I'm working, it'll stay in the same spot and it won't fade away. I'm also going to rename this overlay to the reminder overlay. So now that I have this favorite icon in, we really only need to keep track of the transform since its position is controlled in the overlay. I'm also going to go ahead and delete shear and transform because we won't be adjusting that. I'm also going to unlock the scale. For whatever reason, there's a lock on it, but go ahead and unlock that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to keyframe the X and the Y. I'm going to just keyframe it right here, actually, just because I was clicking the keyframe and it wasn't showing up. So just make sure you have a little dot right there, just to make sure it's locked in. Then what you're going to do is I'm going to drag this out to about 0.10, and I'm going to set the scale to 1.1, and maybe even like 1.2. You can adjust it however you'd like. So I'm then going to duplicate it and hold it so it goes 1, 1.2, 1.2, and then it goes back to 1 like this. So it goes up and it goes down. It's a very quick animation. And in fact, I'm going to drag it out a little bit more just because I think it is happening a little too quick. I'm going to adjust it like this, and then as I go back down, it'll be like that. All right, so now that I've got my keyframe set up, it goes 1, 1.2, it holds 1.2, and then it goes back down to 1. But if you notice, as I play the animation, it looks very sharp, where it doesn't actually it just kind of bulges out, and then it stops, and then it goes back in. And so to fix that, to make it more smooth of a transition, what you can do is you can go in between the big holds right here, the 1.2. You do it a little bit, just a tiny bit. So I'm going to set this to 1.25 on both axes, 1.25. And then now already you can kind of see where it's a lot smoother of a transition. So I'll play it a couple times. And it kind of just, it pulses. It's a lot cleaner, a lot smoother. And another tip that I have as well, when you're trying to create like the ultimate smooth scale like that, if you notice, the 1, 2, 3 frames are happening between the 1.0 scale and the 1.2 scale. And then there's only 1, 2. So now it's a 1 frame difference, but there's 2 frames here. So it's not scaling as much, and it's also happening quicker. The best way I can imagine this is if this is like a line, it's basically just going up and then going back down, instead of just going like a trapezoid or like a plateau, or just juts up and then it goes back down. And then also on top of that, the final little touch that's just the cherry on top here, I'm going to keyframe the animation so that it's angled just a little bit. I'm going to do like 5 degrees, or maybe even like 7.5 degrees. And then I'm going to duplicate the original frame, and I'm going to put that at the end of the entire animation like this. Oops, it looks like I messed this up. So this, see, that's what I'm talking about. For whatever reason, you can't keyframe the first frame without it being messed up. So make sure the angle is set to 0 on frame 1, and frame however many, whatever the end of the loop is, make sure that that is set as well. So it's 0, 7.5, 0. And then you can see what it looks like now, where it kind of gets bigger and it twists a little bit, and then it goes back. Yeah, it's starting to look really nice. All right, so now if I reveal all the animations, you're probably wondering, this is happening at completely the wrong time. The benefit of isolating a single component of the animation is it is much easier to reposition the timing than it is to do the keyframes itself. So what you want to do is you want to take this animation here, and if you drag the gray bar, you can actually time it. You can drag the entire keyframe section all at once. So you just have to play with the timing a little bit like this. So once it comes all the way down, I'm then going to play the animation. So like this. So it drops down and then it blows up and rotates a little bit. It's also important to know that when you do drag an animation, I noticed that you're gonna have to duplicate the initial frame. So these frames here, which is like the 1.0 scale and the 0 rotation, you want to copy it just like this, and then you want to go back to the beginning and you want to paste it. So it is technically like it does start from the beginning, but you don't actually change any of the components until the point in which you want to. All right, so I just played it back a couple times, and overall I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out. I am now going to hold on to this for just a moment, and I'm going to now add the like icon into the animation. So same thing, I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to click add like icon. The cool part about using this keyframe editor is you can actually just copy the animation. So if I copy this, the transform, and I go to the like icon and I paste it, it will paste the exact same thing. So right now we have like 99% of the animation. We just need to adjust the offset again. This time I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to scroll, and that will allow you to kind of pan throughout it. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to, again, I'm going to delete this and I'm going to shorten it. So now I have the isolated animation how I want. And if you remember, this is the first animation. It plays here, right at half a second it'll play. And I don't really want it to play like one after the other. I want it to be like a little delay. And so I'm going to put probably like a 1 second delay in between. So let's see how this looks. Okay. Yeah, that looks about good. Just like that. Like I said, I really like to watch it back a couple times so I can notice every little detail. You definitely don't have to do this, but I think it's a really good idea just to get familiar and try to get that mental image in your brain. And, you know, maybe you'll notice something after the like 10th time watching it. You'll be like, oh, I want to change that. And then the same thing here, we are going to copy the very first frames and then we are going to paste them so that it's a bit longer, and it does still technically happen from the beginning. So just like that, it comes down and it animates. Boom, boom, perfect. Okay, so now what we need to do is we somehow need to create a transition from this into the island code, because if you remember, we have the island code, it's just been hidden the whole time. So what I'm gonna do is I have the title and the overlay isolated, so both of the icons are hidden right now. And I'm going to break both of these out, so it's the render opacity is the thing we're looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the full opacity frame on the reminder overlay. Kind of a similar thing here. So I want to add, I would say add around 1 to 3 second delay in between the transition, just so that they have a chance to read it. Because if it's just playing over and over and over again, it's kind of distracting, you know what I'm saying? The purpose is to have it hold for a few minutes, or, well, okay, not a few minutes, but long enough for somebody to read it and have it be more of like a chill animation, or like a low-key animation. So in this case, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to add, so it's a 2 second is when it's done. I'm then going to add let's do a 2 seconds. Let's do a 2 second delay. I also just want to see, so this is 0.3 and then this is 0.5. So that tells us that there's a 0.2 transition time for it to fade away. So I'm going to have that same time. So at 4.2 seconds, I am going to paste in the 0 render opacity like this. So it fades away just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the island title and the render opacity, and then I can drag it like this and shorten it just like that. So now both of them fade away at the same time. Okay, so now that we have everything set up for the first half of the animation, I am now going to add in the island code right here. I am going to add this in the island code. There it is. And the only thing that we need to do for the island code is the render opacity. So it's going to start at 0. But for right now, I'm just going to drag it all the way to the end. I'm going to set this to 0. And then I'm going to zoom in. And at 440, I am then going to put the 1 render opacity like this. This is going to be the 0 render opacity here and the 1 render opacity here. And I just want to make sure that it starts at 0 render opacity. There we go. So 0 render opacity, and then going all the way back to the end here. So it has the same 0.2 second delay to like transition or to like fade back in. But it's also important that you notice that it's not like immediately after. So I just wanted to show you what this would look like if you have it fade out and then have the code fade in immediately after. It looks way too quick of a transition, so let me show you. Like, see how quickly that fades? It's like, it fades just a little bit too quick. So what I would recommend is when the island title and the overlay, when they fade out, I would give at least one, like a minimum of 1 frame, but I would say like honestly give it like 3 or 4 frames. So this is what, like 20 seconds or 0.2 seconds. So now if you take a look at what this looks like, it's a lot, again, it's a lot smoother, a lot more chill. So now when it fades, I want you to pay attention. There's a tiny little delay, and it's those small things that just make it a little bit nicer. So it's like, rather than it just fading like that instantly, you could honestly make it a little bit longer. You don't want it to just be fully blank, you know what I'm saying? Let's say I do like a 0.3 delay. Like even that is, pretty satisfying. You could even, I wonder if you do like a 0.5 second delay. Yeah, see, that's a little bit too long because your brain registers the like completely blank canvas. So I would do like 0.4. So like let's do like a 0.4 transition time. To me, I think this looks a lot better than if it was just to fade immediately. And so now once you have it set to like the full rendering opacity, it's at 0.85, so 4.85. I'm actually just going to go all the way to like 8.85. So it's like going all the way to 8.85. So that's a 4-second delay. And then I'm just going to duplicate the 0 render opacity, and then I'm going to go the same 0.2 difference here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 0.2. And it fades away. And you have to remember the gap that you put in the middle, you have to add that on to the tail end as well, because when it loops, that gap won't exist, so it will be like offset. So then I'm going to take this 0% opacity and I'm going to go, let me see how long it was. Okay, so I have a 0.45 delay, so I'm going to drag this out to the 9.5. And I'm going to just duplicate that. So now if we take a look at our whole animation, I'm going to unhide the icon and I'm going to unhide the favorite icon. So now if you take a look, this is what the full animation looks like. So there we go, just like that. I think this is an excellent animation. It just kind of cycles and cycles and cycles. It's very cool, very clean. Like I said, it's meant to be a smooth animation. All right, so now it's time for the fun part. We have to do the bindings, and this is my least favorite part of the entire process, but don't worry, it is super simple and I will walk you exactly through how to do it. The first thing you want to do is, because we made the dynamic widget, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but because we made the like custom widget, we have to add in a view model. So pretend you didn't have the view model tab. What you're going to do is you go up to the window, you go view models. So now what we want to do is you want to click the plus icon and we want to add the device message view model, and this will allow us to hook into the HUD message device, which is how we're going to display it to everybody in the lobby. We're now going to the view bindings tab, and again, if you don't have the bindings window, go up here to window and click view bindings. Also, before we dive into the bindings, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Kevin, UEFN, sorry if I mispronounced it. He actually made a video very similar to this, which is talks about the same thing, about how to make an animated island code. I myself am not very good with bindings, and his video goes over exactly how to do it, and so I just wanted to give a shout out there. So yeah, go ahead and show him some support, and let's get back to the tutorial. So the first thing you want to do is click add condition, and we want to do this button right here, and we're going to do text, and when it says it is equal to, we do UI. We go here, and then what you want to do is click this fourth field right here, and we're going to click on our own widget, and we're going to do Q play animation, and the in animation we're going to do this little bind button right here, and we're going to select the island code animation. This is the one that we just made. We're going to select that. We're going to set the number of loops to play. You can just hold down 99999 on your keyboard. It will autofill to the integer maximum. And once you've done all that, we can go ahead and compile and save. And then now I'll show you how to set it up and actually show it to everybody in the lobby. So now that we're back in the viewport editor, it's actually a really simple setup. We only need one device. Can you believe that? We're going to do the HUD message device just like this. And I'm going to drag it into the scene. I'm going to align it just a little bit. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to clear the sound because it'll get annoying. I'm not going to lie, just ding, ding, ding. Now, we don't want that. So we're going to clear the sound. We're going to set the placement to custom, and we're going to set the screen anchor to top center. Because if you remember, that's where we anchored all of our widgets, is at the top center. So just make sure that this matches your widget. Locate the UI folder and the widget we have right here, and we're just gonna put that in just like that. Show behavior if showing is set to ignore. Intro animation is none. Outro animation is also none. And don't forget to disable show for duration. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and launch a session. All right, so now that we are in game, you can see that the island code is looking good. It's doing its smooth animation, and yeah, it'll just loop forever. You can definitely create your own animations, and kind of just go have at it, man. This is really just, I wanted to show off the process behind it, and again, shout out to Kevin. I just wanted to kind of show a little bit more of the animation side, dealing with scale, dealing with the opacity and the rotation, and stuff like that. There's also a bunch more that you could do. I've seen some maps have like a notification pop up that says follow the creator, and then it's got like a little cursor that clicks it. With all that out of the way, if you made it this far to the end of the video, I genuinely do really appreciate your support. I got a little wrapped up with some other projects, but I plan on making some more videos and doing it more consistently. So yeah, I'd love to see you in the Discord. It's got a bunch of free resources there, and you're welcome to just to chat, ask some questions if you get stuck. Other than that, peace.